used to have tar and gravel roads and everybody went really slowly, and there was no destination for anybody to go to.
When you're out with your dog, make sure it's on a leash. It's safer for the dog and it's safer for the public.
My goal is to talk to people about how complex cities can be if they just kind of look at a city in a different way.
As we count down to the 2010 Winter Olympic Games, Vancouver is one of Canada's most rapidly developing cities. But in the midst of all this change, a small community on the banks of the Fraser River tries to hold on to its rural roots and find a new role in an urban world.
I'm Monica Hilborn, and I'm riding my horse Lexico just a few minutes away from downtown Vancouver. It's a wonderful thing for a city girl born with a passion for horses. Today on GVTV, I'm going to tell you about a remarkable rural haven called Southlands and introduce you to some of the people struggling to preserve it.
Tucked between Marine Drive, the Fraser River, and 2 golf courses, Southlands is unique, for no other Canadian city has country living so close to its urban core. In 1973, Southlands farm status was protected by the Agricultural Land Reserve, a provincial legislation to preserve BC farmland. But now an application for rezoning has been made that opens the door for a portion of Southlands to be exempt from the ALR. This has some residents and supporters, like Jennifer Maynard and Terry Slack, worried about Southlands' future.
You can't take one property out of the ALR. It's the whole area that's in the ALR. It'll be the whole area that goes, not one piece at a time.
15 years ago, Southlands had many commercial boarding barns and was bustling with horses. But with Vancouver's booming real estate market, boosted by events like Expo 86 and the Olympics, things are changing fast. But how did a big city like Vancouver end up with this rural community in the first place? It all started with milk and fish.
Well, in 1897, there was a cannery built here, just at the far end of Celtic Slough here, and to get people to work and fish for this cannery, they went to Japan and went to the prefecture of Taktura. They brought the whole village here to run this Celtic cannery. In 1927, BC Packers opened a huge shipyard here. You see the buildings, down the slough here. Well, the big whalers tied up here, right in the end of the slough. It didn't last very long before they just about wiped out our whale population on the coast of British Columbia.
In the 1870s, the McGee and McCleary families held title to most of Southlands, operating dairy farms until the 1950s.
This whole properties down here were subdivided. I mean, McCleary couldn't pay the taxes, Mole couldn't pay his taxes, and nor could McGee. So they started to slice the properties up into smaller pieces. And people came down and they fell in love with horses. Families from the city moved into the area, and that started to become more of an equestrian area, more of a working shipyard.
In my hand. Got it, girl. Over here.
Jennifer Maynard and her family have lived and worked here all their lives, riding and training horses and teaching children.
We moved here when I was 14, and so I've been here a long time. My husband actually grew up in Southlands. He was actually born in Southlands, and his parents were one of the original members of the riding club, and his mother was the first person to bring dressage to Western Canada.
In 1943, the emerging equestrian community formed the Southlands Riding and Polo Club. The original clubhouse was built with materials from an abandoned fisherman's storage hut, carried from the slough on horseback. 7 founding members donated about $7,000 to buy land from the McCleary family for the club, and it quickly became the area's core organization.
Well, my children are, the 4th generation after the founding. My husband's grandmother was one of the early members. The whole community gathers here. There's a Pony Club barbecue every year, and everybody comes, not just the Pony Club people, but the residents. It's kind of a highlight of the year. Everybody gets together. And then now they've started the country fair.
Not only is the club a wonderful place to learn to ride and train your horse, it hosts some of BC's biggest horse shows. And now with the annual country fair, it beckons the entire city of Vancouver to come and sample the rural life.
This area is a huge amenity for the city. It's a great big green space, and it's not a private club. It's available to anybody to join. It's fairly inexpensive.
Today, Southlands is a diverse community of horse lovers, wilderness, artists, and musicians. Van Gray is an artisan who has a studio in the Celtic shipyards.
It's been discovered by a whole broad spectrum of artisans, from guitar makers, fine furniture makers, production people, artists, boat builders, that kind of, that's quite a diversified bunch of people.
What's the biggest change that you've seen in this area in the past 15, 20 years?
It used to be peaceful. We used to have tar and gravel roads and everybody went really slowly, and there was no destination for anybody to go to, so we didn't get the through traffic. Now we have Deering Island, which has 41 houses.
What's left today is a subdivision which, when you look at it, is for very rich people, and in those days we never thought it was going to happen.
We can keep it like this. This is unique in the whole world. I'm a dressage judge. I've judged all over. I've judged in Europe, and there is nothing like this anywhere. I think we can preserve it.
As the horse people leave for quieter and more affordable property in the valley, and the founders of Southlands pass away, who will be left to speak out for the community? In part 2 of A Horse in the City, horse lovers in Southlands face a battle they're not sure they can win.
I'm Monica Hilborn. See you next time on GVTV.
We want to know what you think about this story. Call us at 604-871-6245 or email us at gvtv@vancouver.ca. And visit our website, gvtv.ca, for video, essential links, and much more.